Hey everybody, Jim Powers with MaryvilleSaints.com and Saints Vision, and starting to get a little bit busier here on the athletic side of things here at Maryville. And this weekend, our men's and women's swimming and diving teams will open up their season finally, as they'll travel out to William Jewell. And joining us is their head coach, Bill Nicholson. And Bill, first off, great to see you.
Hey,
How's the transition been for you over the last couple months with the COVID situation and all that, and how the early season practices gone for the team?
it's I when I came out here the first time, like to take the job, it was my first time actually here in person, and I haven't regretted the decision. I'm really. The more I get to know the school, the more I love being involved with it and being a part of it, and I love the area, and I haven't even really had a chance to kind of even explore around that much. So, but the people have been great, and everybody at Maryville has been fantastic. It's been really easy to kind of just kind of like slide in and get down to work. And when we started practice, and we've been really fortunate under the circumstances. We started on the third week of September, and we were able to roll right into where we were doing double practices every day of the week. By the end of the second half of the second week, we were daily totals for mid distance and distance. We're hitting over 10,000 yards a day. And when that outdoor pool we were using for the afternoon practices, when it got too cold, we were able to slide right in and move into weights 3 times a week. We're doing dry lands twice a week. And so it's not exactly the kind of schedule we had planned in terms of the practice schedule weekly, but I feel very, very fortunate that we've been able to do all the kinds of things that we would normally do in trying to prepare ourselves for the championship in February. And without any, I'm knocking on wood every time I say this, without any hurdles so far, so really, really big ones. So I feel that under the circumstances, we've been very fortunate to be able to kind of train the way we've been able to. So it's been fun, and we're in the process right now. The kids are getting to know me and my language on the deck, and the things that I emphasize, and the way that we train. And I'm getting to know them as athletes, trying to understand their athleticism in the water, and kind of picking and choosing the spots where we start going after some certain things that can be improved technique wise, or better ways to swim sets or race prep and those kinds of things. And that's always it's a fun process. I've been having a blast. I'm getting up at 4:15 in the morning every day to get to practice. After that initial shock of the alarm, I'm excited to get to the pool and work with the kids. It's been a lot of fun so far. So I've really enjoyed it, and they don't seem to be afraid to be challenged, because I kept on saying, hey, we're starting a little later than usual. I'm going to be a little unreasonable here with some of these practices. Just be ready. And they took everything I threw at them head on, and I feel like we're in a pretty good spot to maybe put up some good early season times this weekend. So it's been a really good first month.
You mentioned the dry land, and I had a chance to talk with Jack Riffle with an interview to get ready for the meet this week. And a lot of people don't understand that aren't familiar with swimming. Dry land training and weight training is just as important, if not maybe sometimes more important, than actually being in the water and in the pool and different things along those lines. And so, I think the kids have really bought into the fact that dry land is a great training mechanism for them. And they had to use that over the summer because a lot of pools were closed down.
Yeah, and we have a thing I picked up from a, a buddy of mine who swam in the Power Five. This is a little ways back, and we have this thing we do with every session. It's called enduros, and it's about 35 minutes straight of ab and core exercises. And so I kept telling them the first couple times to the guys, it's going to hurt, and so they did it the first day. They were kind of like, well, that wasn't too bad. And then they woke up the next morning and they're like, oh, wow, that's really hard. And, but they're actually, that started transition. They're starting to be able to be more aggressive with those things. And I think our strength and training program, it's as good as you can get. I love what they're doing in the weight room with the strength coaches. And so in the shorter races, particularly in the college level, in the sprint games, it's a power game. You'll see freshmen get out muscled and so it's one of those things where if you're a sprinter in particular, it's as important as as what they're doing in the water. And there have been times with teams I've been in the past where our sprint group is spending as much time in the weight room as they are in the pool, because that's how important I think it is. Because there's power development that you can capitalize on in the weight room and in dry lands on dry land that you can't really get in the water, just because of the nature of the resistance you're facing and everything like that. And so for me, the goal is to make sure I understand what the strength coach is doing with them, communicating with them, and then making sure that what we're doing in terms of prep complements what's being done in the weight room. And so, like tomorrow, we're normally we train through these meets, but because of the nature of the season and not the uncertainties moving forward, we're not tapering for the meet. We're not going all in on it, but we're going to back down for a couple days because every chance we get to compete, we want to take advantage of that because the schedule's a lot more limited. So, tomorrow we're going off the weights, hoping to maybe get a little bit of kickoff of that. We did a lot of speed work over the last 2 days, and then tomorrow it's going to be really kind of coming in, resting, trying to tighten up the turns as much as possible, making sure we're getting off the blocks well, clean breakouts, quick, all the little details that you touch on before you get into a race. With the distance swimmers today, we were talking a little bit about race strategy and the importance of building tempo towards the end, and getting a feel for the build of kick intensity, which is a little bit more harder to get a feel for. And just kind of, and then this will be my first opportunity to see them race for real, and that's where I feel like I can really start to get in there and start to address an individual athlete and start talking about, this is what I was seeing in the race, because it can be different than what you see in practice, and say, and go and hit specific things, because a lot of the technique stuff we're doing now is, it's the fundamental stuff, the freestyle, one motion breathing, head spine alignment, high elbow catch, those kinds of things, make sure that those basics are in place. And then once I get to understand them as athletes a little bit better, making those adjustments where, it's not so much trying to make them fit into a particular technique. It's more about taking that technique and allowing them to tap into their athletic ability more deeply in the water. And so once I get a better feel for what they look like when they're racing in terms of race strategy and things that kind of maybe they need to work on in terms of just efficiency of the water, or things that might fall way deeper into a race that we need to make sure we stay focused on, that'll be easier to address once I get a chance to see him race a few times. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's and for me personally, the furthest west I've ever driven is here. So getting on the bus, taking the trip to KC, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the country a little bit as we travel out there on Saturday.
No doubt about it. So, well, meet on Saturday. William Jewell
Yep.
is going to be hosting. I believe Umsel's going to be there as well. You just kind of talked about what some of the things you're going to be looking for, but it's just got to be good to get the student athletes in the pool actually going against somebody else other than themselves.
Yeah. I think the challenge is it's going to be an interesting environment, because there's going to be a few people in the stands. The home teams, senior parents are going to be in the stands, and they're going to have them spaced out in the crowd. And everybody reacts differently to different environments, so you may find a few kids who really draw off of the crowd, the energy in the pool space. And you might see that challenge for them is going to be able to get up when it's a quieter environment. But you also might have a few kids who actually do better when things are a little bit calmer in terms of the noise and the energy and everything like that. So, once we get this, because I think that's what all the meets are going to be like this year. It's not just seeing not just the physical side of things, but also seeing with this new kind of competitive environment, what we need to do to make sure that we're mentally and emotionally prepared to race on meet day. And so it'll be interesting to see how people respond to that environment, because there won't be people on the deck. All the teams are going to be off deck. You're only coming on deck if you're racing. And then I think you're going to be able to warm down really quick, and then you have to be off deck. So it's going to be a challenge, not just in terms of like your first race of the season for a lot of these kids, the first race in, probably about 8 months, but also walking into the first meet of the year in an environment that they've never competed in before. And that's a challenge that everybody's facing. Every team that walks in there, that's that's how it's faced. And I've told the kids many times that, well, first practice I said, put your helmet on. It's gonna be a tough year. And if you're looking for 2019, it's going to be an exercise in frustration. You need to accept the fact that this is going to be different than any other year of your career. And then I told them also that I believe that the programs, and I think this is across the board, any sport, any level, the teams that make the adjustments and accept the reality of what we're doing, and then do their best to move forward in a way that works, instead of trying to do what you've done in the past and make it fit, make the adjustments that you need to do to make sure that the training is progressive and that they're put in positions to swim fast, take into account of the reality of what you're dealing with. I think that those are the teams that can really kind of make a jump and compete well this year. So I've been trying to re-examine my own dogma, and like go back and take a look at all the things. Like I said, I would never think in a million years of backing down for an October meet. We train right through these meets, but this is a different year. And so part of the job is taking the knuckleballs that get thrown your way, and you got to figure out how to make it work. And so, we're going to be approaching these meets a little bit differently than we would last year, or, moving forward once we get to the other side of this thing. So it's you got to take those core beliefs you have in terms of preparing people, and you have to accept the fact that you're going to have to adjust those and tweak them and spin them around a little bit to make it fit into a season that's going to be it's not going to go like you would normally expect. So and be flexible, be very, very flexible. So yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, Bill, good luck this weekend. I know the kids are excited. I know we're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch you guys on Saturday afternoon compete over at William Jewell. Good luck, and we'll catch up with you after the meet next week.
Yeah, listen, thank you so much. And for me, like I said, I'm just excited. It's my first chance to kind of go out and represent the college, and I'm really, really looking forward to doing that. So thanks for taking the time.
No problem. We're excited for you guys. So the women's, men's and women's swim team will be out at William Jewell. They will be streaming the meet live, as none of our parents are going to be permitted. Like Coach said, William Jewell will have their senior parents there as the only spectators, but there will be a live stream. We have the link up on the schedule page on MaryvilleSaints.com, so you'll be able to find the link there. And then we'll have coverage for you on Twitter, and also post meet. That way you'll be able to see how our men's and women's swim and dive team did to open up the 2020-21 season. For Coach, I'm Jim Powers. Thanks so much for tuning in to MaryvilleSaints.com and Saints Vision. Have a great week, and as always, go Saints.